Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, just wanted to bring you in here right quick and show you what all I'm doing. I guess you could call this part 4. But well, one quick thing I will mention. It's actually been kind of hard to try and video this as I'm doing it. And the reason why is if I have you on my chest mount camera holder, trying to work up underneath the frame and that kind of stuff, trying to crouch around underneath there, you're going to be practically seeing the ground. If I have you on my head mount camera holder, trying to stick my head down underneath the frame, I'm going to be smacking my camera. And so it's actually easier just to simply take video along and show you what I've been doing, as opposed to, well, when I was actually working on that final drive to where I could actually video as I went. But like I say, that was out in the open, whereas here I'm working all up underneath, and so it's not quite as easy. But I'll show you here right quick what's happening. I took yesterday, I think I said it in my last video, of course, got the head all off, everything like that. The dirt, in fact, I'll see here if I can show you on the other side. The dirt that had fallen when I took the valve cover off, I think I mentioned that also. When I took the valve cover off, the dirt that had fallen right down in there around the push rods into those channels right there. I took a little hand pump sprayer and actually put gas into it and just sprayed all down through there. And that washed a lot of the dirt right down into the oil pan, which is what I wanted. And then, well, I could not get to wash down. I actually took the air gun once the gas had evaporated, and just took an air gun and blew it all out. And so now it's all good and clean again. But and so I got that all cleaned out and good to go, and I just put the push rods back into it. That's just a good spot to keep them at. That way they stay out of the way, but yet they don't get lost or anything like that. So after I got that all cleaned up, I got back down here underneath and I took all the bolts that hold the oil pan. There we go. And this right here is why it's very hard to try and film anything when you're working up underneath here like this. But I took all the bolts that held the oil pan. This here is on the left side. That right there is actually the transmission oil filter. Trying to get my phone held just right in my hand. And of course it all goes up underneath there and around the front, underneath the pulley there on the crankshaft, and also known as the harmonic balancer. You can see the belts and everything. Anyway, after I got those bolts all out and got the oil pan broke loose from the bottom of the block, I was able to get the back part over here to drop down. However, when I went to drop the front, and I was kind of wondering, but I wasn't sure, sure enough, the front of the oil pan wanted to come right down on top of the tie rod you see going across right there. And so, nothing to do, but I've had to take and loosen up, and I'm going to have to take and drop that tie rod out. I thought, you can see the steer cylinder right here. What I'm hoping is I can take the bolt out down there on that end right there, where it hooks onto the tie rod, and leave that bolt in, and simply unhook that one, and then just take and actually just kind of swing the cylinder up into the axle. Just get it out of my way. And then I've already broken the tie rod loose. Right here. Actually on the right hand side last night, I got that one to pop out pretty easy. But generally these right here all want to literally seize up. And so the right hand side, I soaked it down good with some good old deep creep right here. That stuff. And a couple good smacks of the hammer, knocked it loose. However, this one here was froze up. And so what I did was I just kept soaking it all down good. And then right before I left to head home last night, because I had to run into the one farm supply store, Rural King, I soaked it all down again. And that way it soaked all night. This morning when I got back down here before I headed off with the tractor and bush hog to go back and do some more chopping on the CRP, I soaked it again. And that way it could soak for another hour to an hour and a half. And I just now, well, I tried this 8-pound sledge, and so then I jumped up to the 10-pound. Gave it 2 good whacks of the 10-pound, it popped loose. And you can see down below how it's gapped open right there. And so now all I gotta do is just finish spinning that nut off there. That's got it. Like I say, that right there that's been the best penetrating oil I've ever found. And if you're not in a hurry for something to try and get something broke loose, like I say, soak it down either throughout the afternoon or soak it down good that evening. Let it sit overnight, and then that way it's got several hours to slowly work into that. And like I say, that deep creep has been the best stuff I've ever found. It works great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that bolt out right there that connects the cylinder to the tie rod, get that pulled out, and then go ahead and lower the tie rod. And I'll probably just leave it sit right down the ground, right below the axle. And then what that will do is it'll let me take and drop the oil pan. And that's why I have this floor jack right there with that 6x6 holding the oil pan still up to the bottom of the engine. That way it can't go anywhere, and so that I can work on the tie rod. But yes, that's just a little quick update as to what's happening. Like I say, I wish I could take and actually film as I'm working on it. But as you can see, you're crawling around underneath there, trying to wear a camera on your head. You're going to be smacking, you'd be hitting it right into the frame. And or trying to wear on my chest mount deal. When you're crawling underneath the thing, the camera would be pointing at the ground. So big deal on that too. But so that's why I figure, well, as I do stuff, then once I'm done with whatever I'm working on, I can take and grab video of that. And so that's about as good as I can get right now. Especially working underneath something. Now, if I had it out here in the open, well then yeah, I could film as I work. Kind of like I did when I worked on that, taking that intercooler and all that kind of stuff off. So, anyway, that's just a little update as to what's happening. And last night, I actually called and talked to a neighbor of mine who is a mechanic. And he's actually going to stop by here, it'll probably be late morning. And I just want him to take a look down in there. And just looking at it myself, I don't see anything else other than piston number 1 right there. But as far as the sleeves on all the other cylinders, just from what I can see, they all look good. And so I'm hoping I can get by and not even need to replace those. And just simply had to take and put a new sleeve into number 1. And then, like I say, I'm also I'll talk to him, see what he thinks. But probably right now we're probably leaning toward simply putting new rings on all the cylinders and new rod bearings. As far as trying to do main bearings in the front and back, you pretty much have to take and split the tractor, because that's the only way to actually get to the back main bearing back there. You probably had to take and pull the flywheel off the back of the motor and going from that way, and same way here. You'd have to pretty much split the tractor, then almost take the motor clear out of the frame, put it on a motor stand, that way you can work on it, and then take the front one out. But so far, no leaks or anything like that. They look good. And so we're going to leave them as is. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But like I say, since we're going to have it apart anyway, probably wouldn't be a bad idea to at least put new rod bearings and new rings into it, and then a new sleeve naturally on piston number 1. So yeah, that's just a little update as to what's happening. Take care. Thanks for watching. Also, I just want to say thanks to the new subscribers that I've had jump online. And so, take care. We'll see you next time.